Hi, welcome to this week's Singletrack World podcast. I'm Hannah, managing editor, and this is...
Benjamin Howarth, technical editor.
Oh yeah, I forgot my second name. Hannah Dobson.
That's the one.
I'm like Cher, don't like to use it.
No,
yeah.
don't.
Okay, this week we are going to talk about the thing that's on my knees, but we'll come to that. We're going to talk about you riding the thing that's behind me, and we're going to talk about you breaking the internet. The thing that's behind me. Oh God, I've done the whole thing. Like, people are listening, aren't they, with their ears?
Some are also
okay, the thing
watching.
that's on my knees, the mystery thing that's on my knees, is a DMR sweeper bar.
Mm-hmm.
The thing behind me is a Kona.
Oh, don't.
Ouroboros.
Oh, yeah, it's written on.
Yeah,
and quite remember.
Well, yeah, you can remember, but they're now still. But an Ouroboros, I think.
Yep. Carbon gravel.
Yeah.
Machine.
And then Benji broke the internet. So let's start with the gravel machine, because this is your first dabblings really with gravel. You've had this and
got a singular as well.
Singular Swift.
Chopping and changing. Peregrine.
Okay.
Yeah, Peregrine Mark 3 or something.
Okay. So that one's...
That's also blue.
That one's blue, but
Yep.
it's steel, isn't it?
Yes.
Whereas this one is... This one carbonium?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure is.
And what observations have you about gravel then?
As I mentioned to someone earlier today, find it very hard to take it to places that I enjoy riding. It's all right if I'm on it. Stuff that I don't particularly enjoy doing, like means to an end stuff, they're all right. Better than probably being on a mountain bike. But then I do find I've finished the ride and I haven't done anything I've enjoyed.
But you particularly enjoy like steep techers, don't you?
I like narrow tracks and single track, yeah.
But you can get narrow single track on these, that's fine. It's just that when it points super steep downhill, then it becomes a little bit more like...
I don't think they're any good on anything, apart from fire roads, which is what they're for, isn't it?
Oh, that's not
can't
true.
Complain.
You just need more practice.
They aren't good at them, are they? They will just about survive, but it's not like a lovely flowing man-machine moment for me. It's
you
like,
need to go and find...
Flipping heck.
You need to go and find a little bit of single track that you take your kids on and then ride it on
That's also good on a mountain bike. My point being, they're never better than a mountain bike apart from on the stuff you don't really want to do. That's what I found. You asked.
You need to go and ride.
I prefer the singular. Do you know why? Because it looks the best. And you spend a lot of time on the stuff you end up on and looking at your bike.
Well, again, I think you're going wrong, because you need to be looking where you're going and looking at the scenery and not looking at your bike. No wonder it's frightening you and boring and whatever.
Well, it's just not for me, which is fine. It's not an unexpected result. They're all right. They're all right. I'd rather do that than go on a road bike, which is devoid of anything good. Just terrifying.
I'll agree with you for once.
I tell you, it's just drop bars. They're awful everywhere, and I've never and continue to not understand why you would have them.
So
that would be great. So much nicer with a flat bar, that Kona. That's every time I'm on it, I'm like, sure, it's like that. It'd be loads better.
Do you not? You need to be on it for longer then, so that you appreciate having the choice of different positions. Also into a headwind.
No, that's balls. That just means all the positions are wrong and you have to keep moving. That's honestly, they've got multiple hand positions. I never want multiple hand positions on a mountain bike because they are correct. It's a negative that people spin into a positive. They're only for aero, and if you don't need aero, they're pointless.
Okay,
they're
so
awful.
we need more headwinds for you then?
Yeah.
Okay. If we have headwinds for the next month, we'll blame it on Benji. So, okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll let Benji calm down a little while...
No, it's fine.
While we go to an ad break.
So the sponsor of this episode is Join.cc.
Yes, I've heard of them.
Yeah, you've heard of them. They're a training app specifically designed for cyclists. Join is an app that takes whatever level of fitness you're at and whatever goal you want to achieve to work out a training plan to get there. You tell it how much time you can spare and it will do the rest. Well, it won't actually do the work. That's on you. But it's like having a personal trainer in your pocket. It takes everything into account, like your age, your fitness levels, what kind of riding you prefer to do, and for me, it even incorporates off-bike training. There's a bunch of material available in the app, and I read a great article on weight training for those of us at a certain age range. I had no idea that as you get older, you benefit more from weight training to maintain fitness. So that's now part of my training.
Okay.
Did you know that?
No.
Now we should be picking stuff up and putting it down again, apparently at our age.
I do that quite a lot, but it's only small items, such as remote controls.
So Join also connects to all your other apps.
Yeah.
So it joins to Strava, it joins to Garmin, it joins to all the sort of built-in stuff. If you've got an Apple Watch, it's got the fitness stuff. Pulls all that data in, so it takes all your normal riding data and it uses that to help guide you towards your goal. Join is free to download and sign up, and the best features are part of their subscription, and you can try it for free for 30 days by heading to join.cc/Singletrack.
Okay.
From Kona. It's not Kona's fault.
He's
They're
still,
all right. They're all right, fine.
he's still going. Welcome back from
Yeah.
after the ad break. We're going to move on before he has some sort of aneurysm.
Yeah.
Okay, so this week, other people had aneurysms because you broke the internet a bit. You got
With
your opinions.
Portrait picture of, no, who was that? It was a Kardashian woman.
What did you write about this week, Benji, in an opinionated fashion?
No, it wasn't opinion. It was full of facts. Well, there's a lot of stories. Yeah, there's been quite a few stories came out end of last week about the German bike industry collective called ZIV. Don't speak enough German to know what that is.
Oh, we should have. Well, yeah.
Zurich. No, why would it be Zurich?
It'll be all joined into one, and it'll take you a week to say it. Yeah.
Yeah. Just to introduce, they're worried about pedal assist bicycles getting more and more top-end peak power because it's straying. I just don't think they're worried. It's hard to explain, isn't it? It's not like they're worried about people's safety particularly or anything like that. It's more about they will start to attract the attention of the taxman, in my opinion, really.
Or legislators
Yeah,
generally.
legislators. They're not being used as bicycle plus. They're going a bit too far and they're going to become a different...
They're going to get reclassified, is the worry, isn't it? So that all mountain bikes will be treated like e-motorbikes, basically. And like you've got the American system of different classes where only a few, like one sort is allowed on a limited number of trails. The Germans are worried that it's going to end up like that in Europe, where we just ban all of them from trails. And we'd all lose our access.
Yeah.
So that was what, and Hans Ray was there talking
about
it
access
as well.
I honestly don't think they're worried about access.
Well, Hans Ray is.
At all. Really. They're more worried about the bigger picture, I imagine, which is genuinely not mountain bikes, is it? It's car replacement vehicles is a much bigger market. So that's what they're trying to protect, really. The thing is, like, they cut out at a certain... They stop assisting at a certain speed. So, all right, you have 1,000 watts. You're still only going to go 15 miles an hour.
Okay, before we confuse anyone any further,
Watts.
we're going to go for a little science lesson with Mark. Okay, so we have maths master Mark. Sir, please can you tell me? What's it all about? What's all this what stuff? What's the what?
I didn't teach maths, actually. It was physics. I mean, physics is just practical maths.
All maths.
It is all maths. You're absolutely right.
Maths.
No, I'm here for one reason only, which is that there's, as Benji actually explained, there's a lot of confusion around e-bikes and about what's legal, what's not, about the numbers that come with e-bikes. And I just thought I'd just add a little bit of clarity where I can.
Okay.
And one of this week's story is all about the maximum power It's all about potentially restricting the maximum power that an e-bike can actually produce.
Okay. Now, is that connected to the battery or to the motor?
It's both. It's
Okay.
mostly the motor. That's where, it's the motor that generates the power. It gets its energy for that power from the battery. But as people who've got e-bikes will know, especially in the EU, there is a lot of people will be familiar with the law as it stands right now, which restricts the power output of an e-bike to 250 watts. Mm-hmm. Now, this creates a very confusing question: as what on earth is Bosch doing, and DJI and all the manufacturers around this story? Why are they talking about 750 watts? Why are they talking about 1,000 watts? If the limit is 250 watts, what's all this talk of 1,000 watts? This is where the confusion is. And and the clarity comes in the fact that there are two values that you need to take into account when you're talking about an e-bike and the power.
Right.
One is the average power output.
Okie doke.
And the limit for that is 250 watts. And no one's talking about changing that. But then there is the maximum power output. Now that is what is being talked about being restricted and being limited.
And how long do you have to maintain an average for versus a maximum for? Like
Yeah, exactly. That's the question. It's that 250 average value is really, when you actually look at the legislation and the regulations around it, it's really confusing and it's really complicated. It's to do with the rise in temperature of the motor when it is being run at a certain power output for a certain length of time. Now, I believe it's about a half an hour period the motor has to run at 250 watts or for 30 minutes, and the temperature of the motor cannot rise beyond a certain limit. Which is, you imagine how bonkers that is. How do you police that?
Stick it in an ice bath or something.
Yeah, how do you even police that? I mean, the fundamental is it's the manufacturers who have to adhere to that. They're the ones who are responsible for making sure that the motor that you buy is compliant. So it's down to the motor manufacturers, it's down to the Bosch, it's down to the DJIs, it's down to the Shimanos. They are the ones who have to worry about that. So theoretically, if it's out of the shop, it's on your bike, you haven't chipped it, it will comply to that regulation. You just have to take that on faith, basically, because how on earth are you going to test it? So anyway, so there's the two. Now, people who are into their audio and into speakers and amplifiers will probably be familiar with the back of their speakers where there's two values written on the back of your speaker. One will say the RMS value of the speaker is like 50 watts. So that's the amount of power that speaker can put out. But then it'll say peak power, something like 500 watts. Now, audiophiles will know what this is about, and so audiophiles will understand what the deal is with e-bikes, I'm pretty sure. That small number of 50 watts is what that speaker can put out, the amount of energy it can continuously run without breaking a sweat,
right,
without overheating, and can just do that all day. The peak is what it could put out, like if you put some massive thrash metal through
that's
it.
when you start to sound like Jimi Hendrix.
Absolutely.
Right, okay.
You start, the Axeman is back and you start thrashing out some ripping chords on your guitar, and you suddenly blow, the speaker just puts out an enormous amount of sound. The peak is what it can do for a very short period of time. And if the amplifier was running 500 watts through your 50 watt speaker for more than a few seconds, it will blow it.
Oh.
But it can handle it for a very brief period of time. So another analogy to understand the difference between this 250 watts limit and this 1,000 watts peak. Imagine you've just bought your car, and on the clock, on the speedometer, it goes all the way up to 180. Mm-hmm. Now, that means your car can go 180. You could put your foot down on the motorway. You could, all right, we're breaking laws. I'm not advocating any of this. But theoretically, on a track, you could put your foot down and your car could hit 180. But if you stayed at 180 for very long, you're going to blow the engine. Mm-hmm. That's peak power. Right. So what the motor can do and continuously do all day needs to be restricted to a maximum of 250 watts. But that peak, any e-bike can have a peak. And
Okay.
that's the thing that's being discussed in this story. And that's the part of the whole equation that is being debated. Should it be restricted or not?
Okay. Questions on postcards, come and see Mark after class. Thank you for that, Mark.
Thank you very much.
What's my line?
Oh, yeah.
God. Anywho.
Okay, so thank you for that, Mark. We will hand our homework in late and
So
with some cereal smeared on it. I
Yeah, so
think.
wattage, peak power is what we're talking about. And the other thing that's more interesting or more revelatory is something called the support ratio,
Ooh.
which is about how much the motor will be allowed to give out from that, but it's dependent on how much your legs are putting in.
Oh, so you can't just like soft pedal and
No.
then zoom along at maximum speed.
Yeah, so they want to be for up until any of the speed restrictions, which is 15 mile an hour or 20 mile an hour over a pond, you need to be putting in, to get, for example, let's make this easy, 400 watts of support from the motor, you need to be putting in 100 through your feet.
Like a 1 to 4 thing.
Yeah. The other confusing thing is they are prepared to go up to 1 to 6, so you can put in 100, which is kind of about what we'd be putting in.
Right.
That would give 1 to 6, and it will allow you to have 600 watts. But the speed restriction would kick in at 15 kilometers an hour.
Okay.
Or whatever that is in miles an hour.
So you could softer pedal, but you would hit your max speed sort
You
of
can get
sooner.
more power, but it's only when you go really slowly like that.
Oh, I see. Handy possibly if you've got a really heavy bike, like a cargo bike or something like that.
I didn't think of that because I'm selfish and I was just thinking about technical climbing off-road. But yeah.
Okay. So that, I guess some of that has potential implications for the adaptive market, for whom
Yep.
e-bikes have been pretty revelatory and have allowed people to go to a standard bike shop and buy a bike that will help them ride.
Yeah, 'cause
Rather than
they-
having to buy a really expensive not off the peg. What's the opposite of off the peg?
Bespoke.
Yeah, like machine.
Yeah.
So yeah, those limitations could be an issue.
Yeah, because if they're only willing or able to put in, I don't know, 50 watts, if you're only allowed support of 1 to 4, that's 200 watts. Sorry, 250 watts total. That ain't going to get your groceries over the Hovis Hill.
Yeah, and then that opens up the thing of, well, if there's a need somewhere in the market for, even if you had to prove your need or something like that,
Yeah.
the technology would have to be able to do it. And actually, it would be better if it was not possible for the technology to be chipped, altered, wouldn't it, in the first place? Because
Okay.
if you've got the ability to make it do 1 to 4 or 1 to 6,
Yep.
then presumably somebody else is going to make it go 1 to 1 or 1 to 10 or whatever.
Yep.
Like, yeah, like if you can mess with it a bit, you can mess with it a lot. Probably.
Well, a lot of it is
locking
like,
it down would be better.
Yeah, part of me is thinking a bit like the access rules where bicycles are aligned to horses. Why? It just means, it's unfortunate, but don't you think those two markets should be split anyway?
What?
Like recreational fun messing about e-bikes versus getting around disabled bikes. I don't know why they're under the same thing at all.
I think because by not having them as a niche, it makes them more accessible, more achievable to buy, and like cheaper and more available. Why should you have to buy a specialist thing? So,
Well, so they don't have to, but on the new rules, they could just keep going on the ones that are only going to give them perhaps not enough power, and otherwise you'd have to, like when you go to Germany and you just go to effectively an MOT centre and get a sticker that allows you to drive around.
no.
Well,
I've
just
never
like
done
that.
that.
I know their lives are already full of freaking admin they could do without as it is, but I don't see why it'd be much unenforceable.
No, I think that's a whole bag of worms, to mix your metaphors.
I don't know.
Okay, and then, but I think what I saw Hans Ray talking about was a kind of, as bike riders, we need to self-regulate in some way, and as bike riders in the bike industry, because if we don't do something ourselves, it'll be done to us by other people, possibly the motor industry that doesn't want us to replace our cars, or possibly by people that just want to restrict our land access as well. So, yeah, I mean, how would you feel about it if they said, no, you can't ride an e-bike out in the wild? You can only ride an e-bike at a designated bike park.
I don't know, because I've already been told things that I don't adhere to as it is. We don't stay where you're supposed to on a bicycle, do we? Not in the real world.
Yeah, but they could. It could have different.
There's no
Yeah, but
police
if
to
they're going
even go and have a look at burglaries. They're going to be standing on footpaths.
Yeah, but
with
if they made
guns.
it a criminal offence, it would be different, wouldn't it? They'd be coming after us like what they go after people on motorbikes.
I don't think they'll. Yeah, I know. So I don't think anything needs to be. I don't know what they are. But the other thing is, I presume he's talking more about America side of things.
Hans Ray? No, he spends a lot of time in the
I know,
UK
it's hard
and
to
in
work
Germany.
out, but then he started using things like Class 1, and he's not speaking to a audience.
Yeah, that's the American system.
Yeah. So, and their cut-off is 20, isn't it? Which is quite a bit different to 15. If as a cyclist, you'll know there's quite a big difference between those. It's 33% faster. And I don't know, I just think the level of... I don't know. I'm just not... I don't think the rest of the world should have to worry about America's problem. It's a lot of it. Their system's rubbish for all off-road cycling, from what I can see from my distance. It's imperiled because there's no public rights of way or whatever. And the whole media, particularly mountain bike media, has spent the past 12 years sneering and berating e-bikes. So the e-bikers aren't going to listen to anything that mountain bikers say over there. Well, never mind.
In the UK, the government has recently conducted a consultation about reclassifying e-bikes and including cargo-style delivery ones. And that consultation concluded that they weren't going to do any reclassification at the moment. But there's still another study going on now, into like an inquiry into the whole kind of Deliveroo thing. The kits that are generally unregulated in lots of different ways, and those are these retrofit kits are the things that are biggest source of fires as well. So there's another concern kind of coming for e-bikes in the UK, so I think there's going to be another bite at this regulation of e-bikes. I don't think it's over yet. So
the government's going to go with whatever brings them the most revenue, which will be status quo, and they'll just add a levy to Deliveroo type creations.
Do you think?
Yeah, I do, because money rules, particularly HMRC. So they're not going to throw that revenue away, even if it was the right thing to do. They won't do it. But Deliveroo things, it's...
Well, so they're looking at potentially...
We'll have to buzz out Deliveroo from this. Courier.
They are talking about creating legislation that would make the safety of the gig workers the responsibility of the companies.
Yeah.
And so then that would discourage the chipping and
Yeah.
the retrofitting and all the rest of it. Because at the moment they're incentivized by being paid crap unless you deliver quick and fast and all the rest of it. Like you're incentivized to go faster.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about new legislation, the legislation already exists that should be dealing with these dodgy setups already. It doesn't need any more. It just isn't being enforced because it's impossible given the resources of the authorities. They don't need any more. Do you think the deliveries are they're already illegal and doing stuff they shouldn't be doing under the current legislation? We don't. If anything, it's probably people who write for bigger media channels probably need to know what the difference between a Sauron and a pedal assist mountain bike is.
Yes.
Because it's too hard to understand. So it is, isn't it? They're e-bikes. Yeah, well, they are. But
anyway,
there we are.
This has just reminded me that in the June issue of Singletrack World, I interview Mike Sanderson, who's the man behind the Caliber Boss Nut, among other bikes.
On his CV, yeah.
Yeah. And he tells me about the e-bike testing process in that and the things that are involved and how you can have all the components that are individually tested, but then you also have to put them together and test them once you've put them on a bike and put them all together, because they can do weird things when you combine these electricals, or if you like wrap a cable in a certain way or whatever. So the legitimate e-bike testing process is quite tricky, and so you can see why people be frustrated that kind of untested, unregulated products come into the country and then they have to go through all of this shenanigans to. Anyway, it's quite interesting.
Yeah.
But if you
Well,
subscribe,
it's kind of why you can't get a frame. And
hang on a sec. Hang on. Hold that thought. Because if you subscribe at the moment, your name will be on the list for the June issue,
first up against the wall.
and then we'll send you, if you subscribe for a print edition. At the moment, we'll send you the current edition as well.
Oh, right,
so
yes.
you get two
You do.
issues for the
get a
price of
freebie.
one. You get a free issue.
Yeah.
Yes. So anyway, go on with that thought.
Oh God, what was I saying? That was ages
I
ago.
don't know. Maybe it wasn't.
Although the whole e-bikes need to be sold as a system is the reason why all the brands have stayed away from selling frame sets only rather than complete bikes. Technically, you can sell a frame set, but it's a funny area.
Okay. This has got quite nerdy, this conversation.
The main problem with e-bikes is confusion, isn't it? Always has been.
Name
because
your
they're all
favourite
weird.
confusion-themed tune.
What's confusion? What's yours?
I don't know who it's by. All This Confusion.
Oh, I don't know that
I
one.
think it was a bit of a mid-90s one. It was on all the time.
I was just thinking Dazed and Confused. That's Led Zeppelin. No, don't say that.
Oh,
What are these
you
you're
disappointed me.
teasing
You're
with?
always quick with the songs, Benji. Oh, it must be the heat getting to you.
Dazed and Confused, Led Zeppelin. There you go.
Right.
Confusion, New Order.
Oh yeah. That's all right, that one.
No, that's not the one. It was on a Now 21 or something, I think, the one that I'm thinking. Anyway, yes, on then to the product section of the show. We have here, what is it?
DMR Sweeper 12, which is a much more swept back handlebar than usual. 12 degrees of backness.
Okay, so we have like the full handlebar moustache effect here with like wrap around your cheeks kind of angle then. It says 35mm rise.
Yep.
31.8mm clamp.
Which is the best clamp.
5 degrees up.
Normal.
12 degrees back.
Not normal.
Sweep in a nice swoopy logo.
Yep. 75 quid to you.
From DMR.
Yep. Why? Why are these swept back more?
Because you want to tuck your elbows in?
It's a lot of its options, isn't it? I think some people are messing about with more swept back handlebars for wrist reasons, I think. What I would say is after presenting it, offering it up to a bicycle today, you put a much longer stem on than you think if you want your grips in the same place.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, they are really, whatever that is, 20 mil further back.
Right.
So if you put them on something, it's like putting a really, so I don't know, add 15 mil to your stem length. So it's another thing you have to go buy. My God. I'll give them a go.
Or if your bike was a bit long, you could put them on and it would bring your handlebars towards you.
Yeah, that's the other thing people are doing, yeah. Is so to get like the grips through your stem cat bolt vibe, moto.
Yeah, because you could put it on with like a normal stem and then the back sweep would make it so that your hands were kind of where your stem cat bolt is, yeah.
So I think you do need quite a long bike, so I'm struggling to think of what we can put them on.
At Bespoke, there was the Creature Cycles mountain bike that had the like 0 length stem. It's just on top, on top of the stem that he'd made
for a while. Yep. Which I don't mind the idea of, really. I just can't. I think you need the whole bike.
Well, he'd built the whole bike, so he'd made the bike long so that you could put the handlebars on top of the stem.
I might see if you can sort out a test bike that's got like a 520 reach and put that on.
Oh, I'll have to check my notes. There'll be a bike check of that one to come because I spoke to him. I can't remember his name because I met too many people at Bespoke.
Dave Creature.
I don't know. He might be called Dave.
Well,
there was a few Daves there,
right.
yeah. But he lives in the Dubby Valley, and he's devised it not to ride the bike part there, but to ride all the natural stuff where you can pedal up and then slither on down the steep stuff, which is just the kind of thing you like to ride.
That's it, great.
So it might be just the sort of thing that you want to ride.
Well, I do like the idea of your hands being in line with your tyre contact patch. Makes a lot of sense to me.
I can't remember how tall he was as compared to you.
5'11".
So
I've no idea.
I'll have to look. But so there will be that coming on the website at some point. There's already a couple of like bike check cum interviews on the website, singletrackworld.com, from Bespoke, which was great fun. Loads of interesting bicycles. You missed out if you weren't there. The Dresden edition is much bigger.
Yeah, I imagine.
And is in October.
October, oh, okay.
Yeah, I am kind of hoping to go there.
After Oktoberfest.
So
it's in September.
So yeah.
Right, good.
Right, I think that's quite enough of that today.
Jibber jabber, rules, regulations.
That was possibly our nerdiest edition yet.
Yeah.
So next week we should probably do like free ride, sick, stoke. I don't know, like what kids do.
Stoke City. Right, come on.
Okay.
We can do it.
We can do it. We can be cool and stoked. Thanks for being here. See you all next week. Bye. Oh, we need to do like stoke fingers.
I can't. That's calling me. I keep doing that. That's satanic though, isn't it?
Is it that one or is it that one? I don't know.
Some MAGA frigging thing. I don't want to do anything. Well, that's that, isn't it?